I'm sitting here with Steve Mikes, who is one of the foremost sitar players in the United States. How did you get involved with the sitar? That's not, something that every all-American kid, just goes to the store, picks up and plays.
Back in the 60s, when I was talking about it, was more common, and many kids had an interest in it, especially if you were growing up as a guitar player. I think any guitar player who grew up in the 60s had a dream of wanting to at least try to play the sitar.
Yeah.
And I became obsessed with it, so I had to just actually go ahead and do it. It took a long time.
Did you become obsessed by the sound of it, or what it did to you when you played it and listened to it?
All of the above. All of the above. I was drawn to the sound. I was drawn to the spiritual nature that seemed to emanate from the instrument, and of course, George Harrison incorporated that into everything he did. He never went on to actually play the sitar professionally once he realized how complex it was and hard it was, but he incorporated the spirit of the music into what he did and stayed friends with Ravi Shankar and his daughter for life.
How hard is it to play?
What is complex about it?
But Ravi Shankar says it takes 60 years to fully find your way around the instrument. And the music itself is so deep and complex. The main book written about the music was written in the 12th century, and it's called Sangeet Ratnakar, which translates as the ocean of music. And people see this music as a vast ocean that you can take several lifetimes to cross.
Okay.
And
well, one thing that I noticed in regard to your music, just when you play it, there's no beginning, middle, or end. It just keeps going.
Indian music, in that sense, is circular rather than how Western music is linear with a starting point and an end. And Indian music, in that sense, it represents the cycle of life, which is always coming around to the beginning.
To me,
once it goes to the end.
To me, it was almost like I would press a button and I would hear that bang, and it would sort of like fill up inside of me, and I would start feeling something very positive going on, inside of me. And I use your music a lot when I paint, especially when I do my very complex paintings. I just need to get inside my head, and this is the perfect kind of music for it.
It's very relaxing, very soothing to listen to.
I kind of purposely, it's inherent in the style of music, it draws you into a trance state because it was first developed in the healing centers and temples 3,000 years ago. And these yogis and researchers back then had complete silence in which to research the effect of sound on the body, mind, and spirit. And they experimented with every use of sound there was in medicine, magic, you name it. And there's conjunctions in the music to parts of the body, seasons of the year. It's a natural music that comes from the vibrations of the natural planet and life.
Could you briefly explain what the instrument is all about?
Well, of course, it originates from North India. It goes back about 300 years. The music itself that it plays goes back about 3,000 years. And many people in this country were first exposed to the instrument through the Beatles, and then, of course, Ravi Shankar, who you mentioned. That's how I first found it. And it's a rather complex instrument with a lot of strings, 19 strings in 3 different parts. I'll give you a quick tour if you'd like. It's got a set of strings that run underneath the frets called the sympathetic strings. It's got 4 main playing strings that play the melody on top. And it's got a set of strings that are on the top side of the neck called the chakari strings, which are for rhythmic purpose. So you can get a lot of sounds out of the instrument.
So you're like a one-man band with this instrument?
So to speak.
It's a beautiful instrument. Was it handcrafted?
These are all completely handmade, no electricity generally used in the production of the instrument. I've gotten to go to India and visit the makers of the instruments, and they're mostly in several cities in North India, and it takes several months to make one of these instruments.
I know you've appeared in concerts all over the world, and what was your big moment for you in appearing with, and who did you appear with that was really something that you'll remember for the rest of your life?
Well, the biggest honor I've had was I got invited to play alongside my teacher's teacher, Ravi Shankar, on stage in a formal concert. And I accompanied him on the tambura, which is the traditional instrument that goes along with the sitar. So you can't get any higher than that.
I also understand that you were invited by Donovan to join him in a remake of the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Actually, I was invited by Cheap Trick and Donovan together. They did this production of complete onstage recreation of the entire Sgt. Pepper album for the 40th anniversary of its release. And they brought in the original engineer that worked with the Beatles, Jeff Emmerich, to oversee the production. And the entire symphony orchestra was the Florida Rock Symphony.
When you play, do you compose what you want to play in advance, or do you just let your fingers fly?
It's a combination, because if you're playing something tradition, there's a mode, or it's called a raga, which the translation for raga means that which colors the mind. And these musical compositions, so to speak, were developed with specific emotions and frames of mind to be established. So you learn rules to play this framework, but within that, it's 90% improvised. So there's a lot of improvisation.
So it's you.
It's you. It's designed so that you express your soul through the instrument in conjunction with the harmony of the planet, and then you bring that out with all the people around you, and it becomes kind of a shared experience. We don't like to say we're performing, because we're not. We're just creating a vibration that goes with the flow of nature.
Let me ask you a question. I guess it's a personal question. Have you ever been in a bad mood and started playing? Has any negativity ever come out of the instrument?
No negativity has come out of the instrument, in the sense that when that happens, I play and the negativity is gone.
Okay.
Because it's impossible to be negative and play.
Okay. What are the places that you enjoy performing in most? I mean, specific venue kind of places.
It's hard to say, because it's really hard to find a good venue for the healing music. Almost any place you would think of that Americans play music is not the right vibration. So in a way, I've composed special music to play in those kinds of places, which became my modern compositions that are on a lot of my CDs. Because when I started playing on Lincoln Road, you couldn't play traditional ragas there. So that's how I composed my first album. I needed something to play that reflected the spirit of this music, but it was a little bit more, it was a little bit more contemporary, so that the average Westerner could sit down and access it. And so I've done 5 or 6 albums of that style of music now, and it's led me to a lot of different places. And even though the music is different, the effect still comes through.
I have a question. When you play with a larger group, like a symphony orchestra, do you have to create your own arrangement, or does whoever's conducting say, this is the sitar part?
That's a very good question, because the system of music for the sitar is completely different from Western music. The notation is different, the theory is different. We don't have chords and keys or anything that corresponds to what they would score for a Western orchestra. So when they do a piece, they have to present it to me, and I translate it, so to speak, into Indian musical form, and I have to compose what's necessary.
So the sitar is like an art form all unto itself.
Yeah.
Unto itself. And I think I'm one of the first people to actually translate and cross that bridge from east to west with the instrument so completely and seamlessly.
Well,
how heavy is it?
It's actually very light, because it's completely hollow, even though it looks like it's very heavy. I hold the instrument completely with my foot and my elbow.
I noticed that. I mean, it's interesting.
And the neck is hollow inside, and the big chamber here is a hollow gourd. So it may weigh maybe 12 pounds total.
And what is the purpose of this?
This is a sound chamber, a second resonator. The sound travels up the hollow neck, which is kind of a sound column, and into the second resonator, which is kind of like a monitor for me. I hear it back here, and it adds to the overall resonance of the instrument.
So you basically go into a trance when you play this.
Absolutely.
Nice.
One final question. Where do you see yourself and this music in the future? And is there any kind of idea of the point you want to hit in 10 years, in 5 years, in 1 year, so that this could become mainstream music and everybody could pick up on it?
Well, I'm on kind of an educational campaign right now, in the sense that I'd like people to realize that this kind of music is there to help balance your soul. And there's certain kinds of music that are out there that has the opposite effect. And, you know, not in the sense that I want to sell a lot of music and have, you know, the spirit in so much music today is how much can I sell, how much money can I make? And this music is the exact opposite of that. And I want to teach people that there's music that feeds your soul, and it's a vibration that you can take into your life and kind of heal yourself from all the negative vibrations that are happening today. And so really what I want to do is teach about that and make it accessible to people. I'll be putting a lot of free music on my website. I'd rather give it away, although you're allowed to make a donation if you come and see me there.
Okay.